Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet. Well, rumors of a romantic relationship between former US President Barack Hussein Obama and actress Jennifer Aniston have sparked widespread gossip. These claims, which resurfaced in 2024, suggest that Barack and Michelle Obama's marriage is strained, fueling speculation about a possible link between Obama and Jennifer Aniston. The speculation traces back to an article published by in Tough magazine titled The Truth About Jen and Barrack. And according to the article, Barack Obama allegedly had a brief encounter with the Friends actress at a Hollywood gala in 2007. The rumor, which first surfaced on Twitter, claims that Aniston admitted to the relationship. However, Aniston has denied the affair buzz and called it cheesy tabloid on a Jimmy Kimmel Live show. Sources have been speculating that the Obama's marriage, once considered unbreakable, has now become a just friends relationship, and Michelle's absence from some of the most important public events, including former President Jimmy Carter's funeral and Donald Trump's inauguration, has further fueled the fire. This story has caused a storm around the world, and will the Obamas break the silence on these rumors is the big question that we will talk about in the next half an hour. Joining us on the show is KV Dhananjay, Senior Advocate. Mr. Gautam Mukherjee, Senior Journalist, joins us on the program as well. Mr. Himanshu Bhatt, Senior Journalist, once again joins us on the show as well. Thank you everyone for being a part of this conversation. Gautam, there has not been any kind of a confirmation from either, Friends superstar Jennifer Aniston or former President Barack Hussein Obama, but the fact of the matter is that the former president showing up without his wife for two of the most important events in the last few days, number one being Jimmy Carter's funeral and second was Donald Trump's inauguration, is quite startling. What do you make of that?
Well, I think maybe an announcement is forthcoming from one or the other, probably Barack Obama himself.
But do you think if there is smoke, there's got to be some fire?
Well, there have been reports while he was in the White House that all was not well, but that the couple didn't want to rock the boat while he was president. Now it's been quite a while since he left the White House, and he is a senior figure in the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is safely out of power for the next 4 years. So this may be an opportune time for, Michelle and Barack to part ways. Also, their children are grown up. Usually in all of this, the children also play a part.
How do you look at this situation? And in my memory, perhaps, Mr. Himanshu Bhatt, this would be the first time that a former president of the United States will have this kind of a strained relationship with his wife. Of course, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton survived the Monica Lewinsky scandal, but this time around, Barack Obama is out of office.
Well, I think, as Gautam said, children are grown up. I'll start from there, and I'll come to something, maybe more political, because there seems to be more than meets the eyes here. It's something like this, last 6 months, Michelle Obama probably is not in USA. Now, Democrats are out of the power for another 4 years. They said, in the Democratic circles of USA, that for 12 years Obama ruled White House. 8 of his and 4 of Joe Biden's from the backseat driving. And that is what the whole thing is. That is what the whole thing is. And this differences. Well, let's not forget the third character.
Close the window.
But then this couple, which was considered, ideal American couple and this and that and all, when they were propagated, when Barack Hussein Obama, I'm uttering his full name purposely, Barack Hussein Obama, when he was in power and when he was back ruling. Now, what's happening here probably looks like, it's something like, grapes gone sour. And what's going to happen is After the couple left together with their children, when the results were out, they are not seen together. And people are making two and two, four. But what is exactly happening that, as Gautam said, I believe they will have to come out with that. Let's here today we are discussing the personal life. We are not discussing the political life. The political ambitions of Michelle Obama are not unknown. I'll put it that way.
That's a good point.
When that happens, well, big things do happen. And there is a shift in the power structure of USA. And so, with that of the world. Now, when there's going to be a shift, there are going to be certain people who are going to be targeted by the new administration, and certain people are to be let go. There were some meetings. I'm not referring to anything, but I'm just stating that there was a 3-hour meeting of Bill Gates with Donald J. Trump. And see what happened. There is an announcement of something of a mega proportion where people could not think. We were talking so much in the media about Epstein papers coming out. Are they really coming out? Doesn't look like. So there'll be some give and takes. So I am looking at from the wider perspective of the whole thing, leaving these personal things out. And when I look at it, I find this not strange. Because Democrats, if they want to have Michelle Obama, or if they continue to have their faith on Michelle Obama, well, things will happen in the 4 years. And mind you, I'll stop with that. After his oath-taking ceremony, there's a rumor. Well, I don't have a full source to confirm any of these things. But Donald Trump said to Michelle, okay, Donald said to Barack Hussein Obama, let's meet, catch up with the old times. Well, that will give you so many things. So
Okay.
today it's all in the realms of speculation. We have to
Alright.
speculate. We have to put dots together. That's all. We can do it.
KV Dhananjay, how do you see it? I mean, and do you think it to be some sort of a coincidence that these rumors have found more fuel into this fire after Donald Trump assumed presidency?
Well, I do not know how to make sense of that one, but this Michelle Obama is known as a very fiercely independent woman. And if she chose to not attend Donald Trump's swearing-in ceremony at the very same place where he had incited a mob, and which in fact was ready to hang Mike Pence, that could be understood. But her absence also in another event, that's during the funeral of Kennedy. So probably maybe these rumors are to some extent true. But as a lawyer, I think my role here perhaps is to point out how the diverse laws in U.S. Compare with the diverse laws here in India. Michelle Obama and Obama most likely will, in fact, should they want to separate, they would most likely choose the jurisdiction of Washington, D.C. or Illinois. A large number of states in the U.S. have no fault divorces, unlike the situation in India. In India, should a person who is married want a divorce from the other person, then it has to be a contested case where the person who goes to the court has to allege many things, that is to show wrongdoing on the part of the other spouse, or both the spouses could come together and file a mutual petition. So in US, over the last 15, 20 years, the divorce rates have gradually come down, and they've had these no-fault divorces in many states for well over 40 years. The two states that I referred to earlier, Illinois and Washington, D.C., have these no-fault divorces where a person could go to the court and not allege wrongdoing on the part of the other, but say that there are irreconcilable differences between them, and therefore want marriage to be, dissolved. The freedom to secure a divorce is, 100 times more in the U.S., and yet we've seen in the last 20 years the divorce rates have fallen. Whereas in India, divorce is relatively difficult to obtain, but yet we've seen on all annual basis, like in top 10 cities, we see 20 to 25% increase in our divorce rates. So I think when we talk about celebrities in the U.S., more so a celebrity of the stature of Michelle Obama wanting to separate from her husband because her husband affair with an actress. I think it serves as a nice contrast to how things here are in India. But and going back to the US situation itself, celebrity divorces are, of course, discussed in a very big way there, and there were other celebrity divorces too. Arnold Schwarzenegger with journalist Shriver, and Al Gore. I think Al Gore's marriage was more or less dissolved after several decades in marriage. So all these matters serve as a cautionary tale. That is, marriages have to be well defined, and parties to a marriage have to identify and then hold to each other certain conduct. But again, the question is, uh, 25 years, 30 years later, if a party to a marriage says that, look, you now want to have a extramarital affair with somebody, then we call a quit to the marriage. I think that also is a great standard, but I do not know how faithful most married couples are to each other after 20 years of marriage. So it's an important philosophical aspect to ponder over, and also a legitimate matter for our lawmakers and perhaps even the lawmakers of the U.S. to think about extramarital affairs. There are surveys that suggest that more than half of all marriages, actually, married persons indulge in extramarital affairs 15 years, even 15 years after marriage, 20 years after marriage. So the question always comes down to whether the other person is in the know, and if the other person is in the know, then what would the other person choose? It's not like the moment a married person gets to know about the extramarital affair by the spouse, then the marriage has to be called quit. It's not so. We know of many families where people realize that a marriage serves a stable function, and it's important to continue to marry, though one may not approve of the spouse's extramarital affair. So I think this is of course, a matter worthy of drastic debate in society. And going forward, we all want to identify, what rules should marriages in fact evolve, and what rules should marriages adhere to. And you take the case of Donald Trump. I'm very sure, extramarital affairs. Stormy Daniels, and he was convicted of 34 counts of having lied to the public or voters about his affair with Stormy Daniels. And that was a very long running case in the US, the one that went over a 7 to 8 month period, and it was so widely reported. But yet we find that probably didn't cause any rift between Donald Trump and Melania Trump. And again, so the affair with Stormy Daniels.
Right. Okay, Gautam, coming back to you. Well, people forget, that since you have been the president of the strongest country in the world, that you still have proclivities which are going to be human in nature, and that's exactly what the glass ceiling is all about, which in a way has been shattered by Donald Trump. That American presidents can have flaws, they can have errors in judgment, and there's nothing to much dwell or in fact mull over that.
Well, if you look at the more colorful presidents, they are invariably young. John F. Kennedy had multiple affairs. He died young as well. You had
Marilyn Monroe as well. Both the brothers had an affair with Marilyn Monroe.
yeah, yeah, and he was also young. So Robert Kennedy, and he also died young. Then Clinton. Clinton became a governor in his 20s and stayed governor of Arkansas right up to the time when he became president. Then he had 8 years in the presidency. So lots of affairs associated with him. Obama, again, a young president. Now, I was looking at a piece of news which took me by surprise. Here is Trump talking of deporting illegal aliens, and it turns out, and this was on CNN, the U.S. CNN, which is pro-Democrat, that Obama deported 8 million illegal immigrants quietly. He didn't shout about it like Trump does. but he did it. So he's a smooth operator. He's a quintessential smooth operator. To lay all of this at Jennifer Aniston's door may be underestimating Obama, and so it goes on. You know, if you have another president in his 40s, this is going to happen again.
Mr. Bhatt, you wanted to come in. Go ahead.
What Gautam said, another president in 40s. Then I was suddenly reminded, when the Republican race was on for the presidency, we had our own Vivek Ramaswamy under 40. We have quite a few young politicians in USA. See, it's something like this. The humans don't become, superhumans, or may become superhumans, but don't become demigods or gods when they become president. They're still humans. You got to understand that. And that's why it is, innate flaws of humans, innate flaws of mankind, that this is going to happen. You are going to have an affair. That's all right. Me and you are doing in a field of work where we are also very legitimate to do that. So why not a president? Why not a president? That's the fundamental questions. But then what happens is in a democracy, and when you have a stark divisions like Democrats and Republicans in USA, certain sects of people who believe in certain ideology tend to expect this, godly behavior from their own leaders. And that's why, this sort of scandals, this sort of things become scandals. Otherwise, nobody would care. How would it care? How would I care if Barack Hussein Obama and Michelle Obama are separated and Barack Hussein Obama goes with Jennifer Aniston? Why should I be bothered about? But we are bothered about because he was an ex-president. And his wife, to whom he is going to divorce, might likely to be, 229 Democrat presidential candidate in USA. That could happen. So these connotations and these things, assume significance in an affair, and especially at the time when the powers are changing. Now here in USA, Donald Trump takes oath and you have all this scandal surfacing. Why? Why 2 months before that could have happened? Because they were separated for about 6 months now. As long as I know, as long as the reports which I have read, it looks like, from last 6 months, she's somewhere in France. That's what they say. In such a case, why this surfaces now only? There's a definite rift in the party. Certain people are, as I said before, certain people are thrown under the bus and certain people are being saved. Simple as that. And this sort of political gimmickry, by way of, the scandals, one way or other coming out, that happens in every democracy. Especially in the ones which are proclaimed to be the greatest democracies. And that is what you are seeing in USA happening. So I'm not surprised, actually. You will see all the drama being played out and at the end, happy ending.
And of course, Advocate Dhananjay, in the American system, apart from, the divorce on paper is also something which is talked about, because, the division of wealth, if you do not have a prenuptial agreement, is the big headline always. Barack Obama has a wealth of about a couple of $100 million that is going to be divided with his wife, and that is also going to make more news than the actual divorce itself.
Very true. Some states in the US have the community wealth concept, California and Texas. But the Obamas don't live there. The Obamas live both in Washington, D.C. and the Illinois, and where they don't have this community wealth for diverse purposes, they have equitable wealth distribution. Both of them have been successful and both of them are wealthy. So there is not, should Michelle Obama seek divorce, then it's not like she's going to recover much money, a great deal of money from her husband, because this certainly, I'm sure they would seek a no-fault divorce, and when you seek a no-fault divorce, the court will see if you have means enough to carry on, and whether you should take some amount of wealth from your husband. But it's not going to be the half division that you find in California and in Texas. So should Michelle Obama want a divorce, then the motivation certainly can't be to get her husband's money. So it's important to note that. And there are some scholars who suggest the U.S. is turning out to be like our Tamil Nadu. There's a change every 5 years. So in 2016 they went with Donald Trump, in 20 they went with Biden, and again 24 they've gone with Donald Trump. So a lot of people expect that 2028, there would be a Democratic president, and it's entirely possible Michelle might want to contest for that primary, and we do not know if she's keen to shrug off the bounds of marriage in order to do that, because all that we have known about her, she's also an author of a book, a very successful book, and you will know probably that in the last 2-3 years. In terms of book sales, so books by the royalty, books by politicians are outselling books by others in terms of non-fiction biographies. So it's entirely possible that I think in India, probably it also is some interest who the next democratic face of the U.S. presidency would be.
But is this
So
how it works, Gautam? This has always fascinated me that does the first lady or the former first lady get qualified enough to run for this coveted position just because she was the president's first mate?
Well, it's one qualification, Vineet, but
I mean, if Neil Armstrong's wife decided to go to the moon, obviously she would need more than just being his wife.
Indeed, and I was about to say that you need the support of the Democratic Party, not just the rank and file voters, but also the power structure within the party. Now, for many years, the Clintons were very influential behind the scenes. Now they're both, getting seriously old. The one advantage that Michelle has is she's not very old and won't be very old when the next elections roll around in 4 years' time. But and she's black and she's highly educated.
But age, does age really matter in this case, Gautam? Because Bill Clinton was the president of the United States 30 years ago. He's still younger than Donald Trump.
That's right. No, Donald Trump is an exception. He is not your common old garden 78-year-old. He has enormous staying power, determination, grit, energy. He's an exceptional person. And he is out to change the world, and he's already initiated a bill to go in for a third term. He's wanting to do a Roosevelt, a Franklin Delano Roosevelt, when it was limited to 2 terms after he died in his third term. Now, rather like Z, Trump wants to put it back, so he's not worrying about his mortality at all. He's supremely confident, but he is an exception. As far as the Democratic Party goes, it is quite a mess because it has a far left wing. It's got very many woke ideas. It's got a lot of immigrants, Palestinians and the like. There's an anti-Semitic business in there. So much so that the traditional black voter and the traditional Hispanic voter that used to be with the Democrats moved away and voted for Trump substantially. That's why you have a Rubio as Secretary of State. He's a Hispanic. That is a reward and an acknowledgement of the support from that community. So a lot of things have changed. The Republican Party is not isolated amongst the rich white population anymore. It is more representative. That's why he won the popular vote as well. Where is the Democratic Party, and who can pull it together in time for the next elections.
Okay.
I somehow at this point in time find it very difficult to imagine that Michelle Obama is the person. But stranger things have happened.
All right. Okay. Stranger things have happened, and that's the best way to, in fact, top that debate up. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this conversation.